Broadcasting live from Houligans Sports Grill on ISB in Daytona Beach, Florida, it's the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show with the Gridiron Gang. Fellas, let's flip the switch and do this. Very pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Bethune-Cookman vs. Alabama A&M University edition of the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show. We hope everyone's safe and well tonight. We will be without two of our co-hosts, Mr. Ralph Smith and Mr. Larry Wesley, and of course, Mr. CC Cruse. Have my main man, Jerry Bell, with us tonight. Jerry, how's it going, man?
All is well. How you guys doing? Everybody make it out safely from the hurricane?
I think we check your audio, Jerry. Let me see here.
Will do. I think I'm good. Let's try that again.
Got you, Jerry. Go ahead, man. Sorry about that.
All right. No, I just want to make sure. So, hello, everybody.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully, everyone survived Hurricane Milton okay. I mean, it's good to be with you, but hopefully we can give you a little bit of a relief from dealing with the storm cleanup and all of that good stuff. But it's glad to be with you all, and good to be with you, Daryl.
Thank you for joining us tonight, Jerry. Very much, man. We're appreciative to have you on the show with us this evening. So that'll take us, well, I'll tell you what, Jerry. Tonight we're going to dedicate everyone who make this show to everyone who made it through the storm okay. We want you, when we get to our call-in period, we want everyone to call in, check in with us, and let us know that you are doing well. And we just want to hear from our Wildcat fans throughout the listening and watching area. So, Jerry, how's your week been otherwise?
It has been a very interesting week. Again, having no Bethune-Cookman football this weekend. So we certainly miss our guys, and we're with them. Our thoughts are with them as they're on the road. I believe they are probably in over in Alabama now, but up in Georgia for a little bit. But my week was good. You know, again, just managing the office. I manage a facility, as you know, and we had quite a bit of water intrusion inside the office. So we gotta deal with that. So my weekend, I think I told you, you know, my hope was to be able to go up to Huntsville, but
understood.
I got to go where they pay me. And so, so that's going to be
totally
interesting
understood.
Yeah. But as it relates to my personal property, I think we had just a couple of, we had like 3 panels of our PVC, our vinyl gate to fall down. But hey, that's the worst of it for us. So we can take that. We can handle
definitely
3 panels of gates. Yeah. How about you guys? How'd you make it out?
I made it out fine. No power loss. No damage. So no water intrusion. Just happy. But looking around Daytona, there was some minor damage. Glad to say that the college did take on some water in the yard in the normal places where it usually floods, but it seems that most of the buildings fared well, and no water intrusion from what I saw when I rode around there this morning. And another great thing, all the players and coaches and all the athletes' vehicles are safe. Now, the practice field, the fence around it did take a little bit of beating. That's down, but the
tents didn't last? The tents didn't survive? That's like the 3rd hurricane that tent's been through, and so it made it through the first 2. I don't know about the 3rd one.
So they took the top off of it.
Oh, no.
But some of the, well, not the storm. They took it off before the storm, but
right.
Some of the poles are bent. I tried to work it back. One's jumped across the pole or jumped across the fence, but yeah. It's fixable. It's fixable, and yeah. So, man, that'll take us right into our SWAC week recap. Of course, we had the Rattlers of FAMU going into Alabama State. They pull that game out 28-13 on Alabama State's homecoming. Any surprises there, Jerry?
No surprises. The game went about the way we expected. It was a very good defensive game. I'll make this kind of overall statement about Florida A&M. Right now, Florida A&M is a better football program than they are a better football team. And what I mean by that is you watch the team and you go, hey, man, these guys are susceptible. Like there's some holes. You see some great athletes out there. You see some good scheme. There's some holes in the teams and in their team and things that you think that other guys can exploit. But that's a program that's used to winning. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, Alabama State had a hard time moving the ball on offense, as you expect. They ran the ball pretty well. And then FAMU kind of figured them out and forced them to throw the ball, and they couldn't do it. Yet and still, Alabama State had a chance to go down and tie the game on their final possession and had a jet sweep, tried to stick the ball in the belly of the receiver and forgot to pull it back. And ball hits the ground, FAMU pick it up, scoop and score, and another program win for the Rattlers.
Another program win for the Rattlers. And yeah, Jerry, better program than football team. They are finding a way to win. But if someone puts it together against them, not to jump ahead, but they do face, Jackson State on next weekend. So we'll see. We'll see. Arkansas Pine Bluff goes to Alcorn. Final score of that game, Alcorn 38, Arkansas Pine Bluff 28. 10-point difference there. It's, Arkansas Pine Bluff starting to play, that earlier money game against Arkansas, I think is helping them out as far as competition. And Alcorn is still, they're going through some things right now. So.
Yeah, I thought Pine Bluff had them one. I mean, it was 14-14 at halftime. And, right. I thought Pine Bluff was going to pull this one out, but again, it's very hard to win on the reservation.
It is very hard to win on the reservation.
As we found out a couple of years ago, we had one that we gave away up there. This game was very, very reminiscent. So
it is very reminiscent. So then we had Virginia Lynchburg goes in Texas Southern. Final score of that game, Texas Southern 28, Virginia Lynchburg 10. No surprise there. Alabama A&M, who our Wildcats face on this weekend for their homecoming, they go to Jackson State. Jackson State 45, Alabama A&M 38. I know we're going to cover our opponent here shortly, Jerry, but did you expect them to put up 38 points against Jackson State, or where are you on that game?
No, I'm more surprised that Jackson State put up 45 points.
Gotcha.
I mean, I'm saying that because I think Jackson State's defense, I thought, was ahead of their offense this year, and I know they've been a little bit better since TC has taken over play calling duties.
Right.
But Jackson State get out early. They get that early lead. Had a couple things on special teams go their way. They get an early lead, and I'm thinking, man, they're gonna win this game going away, and maybe that's good for us because Alabama A&M will be a little bit beat down by the time we come in.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah, but Alabama A&M found a way, and again, I'm not surprised that Alabama A&M score points. I mean, they'll figure out how to score points. They can't play defense for anything. Let's hope they keep that up for one more week. If anybody from Huntsville is listening to me, I think your program is amazing. I think you play defense well. We need to give you any bulletin board material. But as it relates to putting on our football analyst hat, they have a hard time playing defense over there. And, I'm shocked that Jackson State put up 45 points. I thought this would be more of a 28-31 type of game.
Yeah, definitely. Same. Then we have Prairie View faces Incarnate Word. Incarnate Word 56, Prairie View 28.
Nothing to talk about. We knew that was
coming. Nothing. Yeah, that was next. Nicholls State versus Southern. Southern is, as of right now, they're really Nickel State 51, Southern 7. Again, yeah. What we
not
expect.
much to talk about there. I mean, what do we?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I mean,
that's-
so
yeah.
and I mean
definitely.
the wacky West, and who knows? Southern probably still win the West for all we know. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's crazy over there.
That'll take us into our Pro First Sports Management SWAC week schedule and rankings. On tomorrow night, we have Prairie View A&M versus Arkansas Pine Bluff. That's on ESPN2. That's a 9:15 Eastern Standard Time kickoff there in Arkansas Pine Bluff. Our Wildcats go into Alabama A&M to Huntsville on this Saturday. 2 p.m. Central Standard Time kickoff, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time against Alabama A&M Aggies. Then Mississippi Valley goes to Alabama State. That's a 3 p.m. kickoff there in Montgomery. Alcorn State goes to Grambling, another 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time kickoff in Grambling. And then Southern faces Texas Southern. That's a 7 p.m. kickoff there in Houston and Shell Inter Stadium. And that rounds out everything for the SWAC for this week as far as games are concerned, guys. So the Rattlers are off this weekend. As far as power rankings, FAMU comes in at 23 in the power rankings. They were previously ranked 27. Jackson State comes in at 46. They were previously ranked 50. Grambling State comes in at 71. They were previously ranked 80. Alcorn State comes in at 85. They were previously 100. Alabama State comes in at 88. They were previously 82. Southern comes in at 97, previously 84. Alabama A&M comes in at 101. They were previously 96. Prairie View A&M comes in at 104. They were previously 95. Texas Southern comes in at 109. They were previously 114. Arkansas Pine Bluff comes in at 121. They were previously 118. Our Wildcats come in at 126. We were off last week, and we remain at 126. Hopefully that will change on this weekend. Rounding it out for the SWAC, Mississippi Valley State 129, and they are still 129.
So if my math is right, that's 6 sack. Can't get my words right. I was about to say something I wasn't supposed to say. That's 6 SWAC teams that's ranked in the 100s out of 130. Yes. So half the league is in the bottom 25% of the country. And we are pulling up the rear. Just thank God for Valley.
Thank God for
But
Valley,
there's always
man.
Next week. We got Saturday coming. We got a chance to redeem ourselves.
You can pull yourself out of the cellar.
Pull yourself out. It's going to happen. We going to do it.
Yes, sir.
Faith.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They've been, like you said, up in Atlanta getting it in, up there in the Georgia Tech's, indoor practice field, making it happen for our Wildcats. So,
yes, sir.
In our SWAC football standings, Jackson State in the East comes in at 2-0 in the conference. They're 4-2 overall. FAMU 1-0 in the conference, 3-2 overall. Alabama State 1-1 conference, 2-3 overall. Alabama A&M 0-1 conference, 2-3 overall. Bethune-Cookman 0-1 in conference, 0-5 overall, and Mississippi Valley comes in 0-1. And they are 0-5 overall. Jerry, Todd, you say your math ain't mathing.
My math ain't mathing. It wasn't 6 teams in the what was off, Miss Tosh? What she said. I think she might be talking about something different.
Yeah, leave it up. Leave it up to the school person to call us out, man.
What did I get right? I didn't count 6 teams. Is that right?
5. We got 6.
Yeah, 6 in the bottom.
And there's 6 out. She was like, "Oh, I guess it added up to 16 or something like that."
Oh, she think there's 6. I don't know.
She'll
tell me later.
Yeah.
Tell me later. Yeah.
In the West, in the SWAC, Alcorn State comes in.
My toes.
I know, right? Alcorn State comes in at 2-0. They're 3-3 overall. Southern comes in 1-0. They're 2-3 overall. Texas Southern comes in at 1-1. 2 and 3 overall. And then Prairie View comes in at 1 and 2. They're 2 and 4 overall. Grambling State comes in 0 and 1, 3 and 2 overall. And Arkansas Pine Bluff comes in 0 and 1. They are 1 and 4 overall. So Taj is correct in our math over here, but we want to hear from her. We need to hear how we messed up so we can correct it, and so we'll be more
I don't know.
efficient.
I don't think she's a math teacher, is she? Yeah. we got to watch out for that Fulton County education system. I know I'm going to get in trouble. I'm already out there. Yeah. She's not going to let it go. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah.
We know that all too well. Like I say, love you, Taji.
Yeah.
So, Jay, let's talk about, man, let's recap. We didn't get a real good chance last week to do it, but let's recap our first 5 games, man. We come in to the season hoping to have a, she said not tonight. I know she's just getting back in town. But just come in. We come into the season trying to, up our offense. Hopefully our defense is still going to be on point from last year. At this time in the season, we averaged 18.80 points per game, while our opponents averaged 40.40 per game. Total points in our first 5 games, 94. Our opponents, 202. You got anything towards that, man? Yeah.
I mean, just looking at the numbers, offensively, we are almost exactly where we were last year. And, we had a difficult time running the ball last year. I thought with 4 returning offensive linemen and more explosive players in the offensive backfield, along with Cam Ransom playing quarterback, who gives you another dimension running the football, I thought we would be more explosive. We could get more done in the run game. To this point, that hasn't happened yet. Hopefully we've turned the corner, but that hasn't happened yet. So the offense is about where it was last year, but I do think we have better players. And so there's room for growth and improvement. As long as we figure out, and hopefully this off week, we've been able to identify what's worked well for us, and then we can start to build around it. Because what I see right now is we're a little bit of everything, right? And so don't quite know who we are. So hopefully we use the off week to self-scout and figure out these are our core plays. This is an identity that we can build around, and then develop an offense around that concept instead of just calling plays and throwing it all against the wall. That's just my, that's what I like to see. So we're about the same, and I thought we'd be better there. On the defensive side, I'm really shocked because we've regressed from last year. And I know we have better players on defense than we did a year ago. But or at least I thought I did. I can't say I know that when the results speak for themselves. But I thought we would be a lot better on defense. And I think the bottom line is it's just taken a much longer time getting all of these new starters on defense. I believe it's 9 new starters on defense. I'm pretty certain it's 9 new starters on defense. And so, and that was before Thomas got hurt. So with him out, really 11. And so I think it's just taken a lot longer for these guys to come together defensively because, that's kind of where we are right now. Now, when you look at the games, you can go and point to the games and say, well, we look good in this area of the game in one week. And then we were really close in this game, but didn't make a play or two here. And then we look different. So there's some pieces there. The question becomes in the second half of the season, can we put it all together and create an identity of who we are? So that's a long way to answer your question. Are we where I thought we would be right now? No, I thought we'd be farther along offensively and defensively. But I have seen some signs of life on both sides of the ball that suggest that just maybe, a few things go our way, we can start clicking.
Definitely. So far on the season, first downs, we have 79, including rushing, passing, and penalty first downs. Rushing, we've gained 566, lost 156. So total on the year, 410 yards rushing. Some people have that per game. As far as touchdowns from rushing, we have 5. Our opponents 12. On the season for passing, we have attempted 139 passes, completed 82, 4 interceptions. Our opponents not much better. They've attempted 129 on the season, completed 88, and 3 interceptions. As far as passing yards, we have 899 on the season. Our opponents 1,178. As far as total offensive plays, we have ran 309 plays, average 4.2 yards per play, average per game, total offense 261.8. Our opponents total plays 349, average per play 6.9, average per game 480 on the season. Total yards for Bethune-Cookman on the season 1,309. Our opponent 2,400. As far as touchdowns, we have 11 on the season, and our opponents have 25. Another number that we have to work on getting down, which we got down really well last year. Penalties per game, we're averaging 63.60. Our opponents 84.20. On the season, we have 39 penalties for 318 yards. Our opponents 49 penalties, 421 yards. As far as time of possession, averaging 29.09 minutes of offense. Our opponents 30:51 for 2 hours, 225 minutes, and 43 seconds. Our opponents 2 hours, 34 minutes, 17 seconds for total time of possession. And you said it, Jerry. This, I mean, after those numbers, is there hope for our numbers, except for total yards, aren't far. The other numbers aren't far from our opponents, other than kind of penalty yards. But what can we do better?
Yeah, I mean, so listen, I understand what you're saying. That's coaches used to always say stats are for losers. Because you say, well, our passing yards are kind of close to that. Well, the reason why they haven't, they as in the 5 other teams that we played,
Right.
their passing yards aren't that high because the easiest thing in the world to do in football is turn around and hand the ball off. And if the other team's not tackling you, you continue to turn around and hand the ball off. There's no reason to put it in the air. And so,
Right.
so you have to watch the game to tell a story. And so, again, are there things that we can do better? Yes. The problem is it's hard to kind of really pin down what that thing is because every week it's something different. Let's take the last game, Alabama State, right?
Mm-hmm.
We knew what they were going to do. Everybody in the world knew what they're going to do. We just mentioned when Florida A&M played them, they had Alabama State had almost 200 yards. Taji, don't go back and look at the numbers. It was just under 200 yards rushing in the first half. And then, Florida A&M finally said, well, let's make them do something different. And so they forced them to throw the ball. They couldn't throw it. They made the adjustment, blah, blah, blah. Well, we knew that too, but we kind of just waited too late to make that adjustment, and we allowed them to run the ball on us. The week before then, we played the run pretty well, but we couldn't stop the pass. One week we're okay. We're right there. We're playing good defensively, but we are not executing on offense and dropping passes. So there's plenty of room. We're really close. It was almost, but not quite. But it's every week. It's a different thing. And I think ultimately what this is about is less about X's and O's, less about, schematics, and more about just guys having a little bit of belief in themselves. it feels like a team that's playing really tight and guys are pressing. So you try to do a little bit too much, or you have an opportunity to make a play, and I'm going to make a play, I'm going to make a play, and then you're not trusting your technique, you're not trusting what you've done your whole life, you're going out there, you're not having fun. So I think we're at the point now where it's more about the mental aspect of the game. It's more about guys who, hey, if you're here because you want to be here, because you love this game, go out and have some fun and play and do what got you a scholarship to play Division I football and have some fun, guys. And so I don't think it's really about X's and O's right now. I don't think it's really about reinventing the wheel. I think it's about simplifying, have some fun, and just go play fast and see what happens.
I definitely agree with you that, you know, if we can just put things together, and we do have some help back, specifically on the defensive side of the ball, hopefully Saturday, and hopefully those guys can hold up in there. And you know, I think with those additions back, it will help lead a big charge. So,
yeah, and I can see that. I mean, let's face it. This defense has looked completely different since we lost our all swag middle linebacker. Right? We tried to play him at will at one point. We moved him back to Mike, but when De'Aaron Thomas was in there, this defense looked different. I mean, we were able to hold up well, play well, run things down. He got hurt, and again, that's part of that pressing, right? You lose the guy that runs everything down and clean everything up, and so then you kind of press a little bit more because you don't trust the next guy. And it's not like you don't trust them because they're not good. You don't trust them because you haven't played with them. You don't trust him because you haven't seen what he's like. When number 6 is in the game, he's on every play. And so everybody else can relax and try. And so, again, some of this stuff is, you know, football, a lot of this is you got to trust the guy that's next to you. Or like Bill Belichick would always say, do your job. And so, you know, you kind of lose your top tackler. You lose the guy that runs everything down, and everybody in stepping up start to kind of do a little bit too much and get outside of their responsibilities. Well, hopefully once you put them back in there and everybody else can just relax, go play their game, do their job, not blow assignments, you know, and that sort of thing. Now, you know, 6 won't help other people not miss tackles. But hopefully they'll be a bit inspired to go out there and put their face mask in a face mask and get a guy on the ground.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, those are the things you know, we can do to pull out, you know. We're at the crossroads of our season, and you know we have to win out. Everything is still, you know, I know we say this week after week, but everything's still right in front of us. We got almost like a reset. And while we're resetting, all of a sudden, you know, now we got to go on the road. So, you know, hopefully the lack of damage to players' vehicles and everything help them to lock in and, you know, their places, help them to lock in and play a great football game on this Saturday. So,
I mean, it's one of those things that it's not just the bye week. I don't know about how I feel about the bye week, but this is almost one of those things that could be really good because we are on the road. And sometimes, you know, there are some teams that play better on the road than they do at home. You know, what it allows you to do is kind of get together, get away from everything, start, you know, you go through your team meetings, guys are together more, you can talk about things, as opposed to when you're at home, you kind of have a tendency to guys show up at practice, and if you're not careful, you know, you got to go and take your girlfriend to walk across the street to Checkers if you don't have a car. You know, you want to I meet you at the grill, you know, get some shrimp dipped in that champ sauce, free advertisement, champ. But you know, you kind of have your routine things, right? You got to go to play video games with your homeboys. You got people you want to see. You got your frat boy, and all the stuff that happens when you're around town, and sometimes getting away from it all, and being able to have football in front of you. Sometimes that's a good thing. So we'll see if this getting away and if this becomes the reset that we need, because as you mentioned, the whole season is in front of us.
Yes. And another thing I see one of our listeners mention they need a team bonding, exercise like the basketball team did. Well, hopefully the basketball team, who is currently traveling with the football team, will help with that. Maybe, talk
Well,
about some of the things they've done during the team bonding, and that will help.
the basketball team is that the men's and women's basketball team or just?
Nah, it's just the men, from what I've
Oh,
heard.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it works out. Yeah, I mean, you still, you can still get the lessons. We just didn't know if it was, basketball. I know volleyball was had a good weekend last week, and they beat up on the
Right.
Alabama teams, but that FAMU squad is a little difficult. So we knew volleyball couldn't travel, but well, hopefully, again, get some different voices, and maybe there's some things that they can glean from the basketball team.
Hopefully. So yeah. I hear you, Todd. They can't compare one to the other. That'll take us right into our NIL chat, but we're going to pivot a little bit. Instead of the NIL chat, Jerry, we're going to talk about nutrition, and we're still trying to assist. And I know Miss Givens made a post earlier. Was it today or yesterday? That the football team will be getting some supplements this weekend, and I know there's a big push to continue that with a huge palette of boosts that will help them through the rest of the season. That nutrition goes a long way. You went to you went to the Clemson, Florida State here. Ralph's son went to Michigan State. Jerry, at those places, let's talk about the nutrition factor. How does that nutrition differ than at our level?
All right, I'll tell you from personal experience. I stayed right across the street from the calf in the freshman dorm. The football players ate at that cafeteria, but we had the regular food up there that you didn't want to eat. And those guys, speaking of nutrition, they would eat up there with us, but they also had, you go downstairs of the cafeteria and they would eat down there. You would have guys come on campus, be 175 pounds, but and they would eat with the students, but then they would give them a brown paper bag and say, eat what's in here, don't worry about it. But it'll be extra protein, it'll be protein powders, and peanut butter sandwiches, and nuts and granola, and all, just nutrient dense food. And so they would give those guys the food, and you show up in August, the guy was 175 pounds. By the time you get to spring football, that guy was weighing 195 and jacked up, and looking like a guy who I thought, if we got into a fight, I might be able to take him. But after enough of those protein shakes, there's a reason why I'm not on scholarship at Clemson. And so, but no, and so it made a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. You see that on that level, even when Sam Houston State won the FCS championship a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing Coach said is, we have the speed to compete with anyone, but the only way we're going to be able to win a championship over a North Dakota or North Dakota State or South Dakota State is if we boost our nutrition. And so the administration had a huge commitment towards nutrition. They boosted their nutrition. They went out, they won a national championship. They parlayed that into a move up to FBS. So that was an entire administration move. Now, hopefully one day we can get there. For the time being, I love what Sister Givens is doing out there and others to try to, really boost this, because it really does make a difference of being able to pack on those pounds and that muscle. It's a difference of winning in the trenches and having a good running game and not having a good running game.
I mean, just like, we talked about on the spaces, that you had a few weeks ago when we had a young man show up here, and, he was like, man, I am 15 pounds lighter. And, you even talk to some of the players on the current team now, and, he can start practice at one weight. And then, after he's done, it's, he's 5 to 10 pounds lighter. He's 5 to 10 pounds lighter, so we got to do all we can to pack on those extra pounds. They do matter. I mean, we're one step away from 1A football. You're playing 1AA football at the highest level. You are in the same league as the person such as, North Dakota State and things of that nature. And like you said, to be able to compete against those guys, you got to have the nutrition. You got to pack on the pounds. Pounds, weight, lean mass, all that stuff does matter. So, yeah, jump on the movement. Reach out to Taji Givens. We also posted a link on our Facebook page and on our YouTube page, YouTube channel. Help us out. We are trying to help those guys have at least a nutritional drink and snacks after every practice for the rest of the season and then some. So we can do that all collectively.
And how long is that link going to be available? How long are we doing this?
We're going to keep that link up as long as we can. We were trying to raffle off a ticket to the Alabama A&M game. I'm sorry, a bus seat and things of that nature. But we will still do the raffle. It will be for a different trip, and plus something extra, probably also a classic ticket. So we're going to keep that link up, and it's all to help our guys out. All to help our guys. That'll take us right into our Alabama A&M scouting report. So Jerry, man, they got a running back coming in. He's approaching 2,000 career yards. He's 22 away. You never want a guy to eclipse a great mark against you, so you got to shut those guys down, or Donovan Eaglin down. They got another receiver, Keenan Hambrick. 19 receptions. He needs 19 receptions to reach 100 for his career. Jacoby Hewitt. He's 200 yards shy of 1,000 yards for his career. And then the quarterback, Xavier Langford. He has thrown in 33 career games. He's thrown for 2,500 yards. As far as Avion Smith, he needs 9 yards to reach the 1,000 mark for his collegiate career. The tight end, DJ Nelson, he's approaching 500 career yards, needing 37 to eclipse that mark. We got to shut him down.
Shut down is kind of a statement. Listen, you say whatever you want to about this Alabama A&M team. Connell Maynard is a great offensive football coach.
He is.
He can put together some things offensively. Now, with that being said, one of the things I love about Maynard with this team is Maynard loves the passing game. And I think that works to our favor in this game, in the sense of, you mentioned him, first person name you mentioned, Donovan Eaglin is a football player. I think he is the best running back in this conference. I think he's the best running back in this conference, and I don't think there's a close second. The reason why we don't think of him as clear in a way the best running back in this conference is because the head coach, who's also the offensive coordinator, is in love with the passing game. And he will just stop giving the guy the ball. And I thank God that he did last year, because I think Alabama A&M were probably on the way to beating us last year, except he fell in love with the passing game and the RPO game. So he stopped handing him the ball. So assignment number one is you got to stop the big guy, number 7, when he get that football, because he is a tough out. And 2 years ago at their homecoming, we lost because he beat us and we couldn't tackle that guy. So we better figure out how to tackle him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, you were going to say something. Yeah.
No. I was just remembering back to what, Ralph and Larry said last week about, we've seen what the big backs can do. We faced one, week before last, and, got to wrap up, got to take them down. If you stop those wheels from moving, then, the less yards you gain. You can't tackle up high, can't tackle up top. That guy's
It's a
going to bring a
face
load to us.
mask to face mask football game. And so we're going to know really, really early who wants to be there and who doesn't, because that guy runs with a lot of, he runs behind his pads, is the football term. He runs behind his pads and he's going to bring it. And if you are diving at ankles and not looking at what you're hitting and just hoping that he goes down because you're having a little thud practice, listen, he's going to embarrass you.
Yes.
That's what this is. Listen, he's going to embarrass you. This is the best running back in this conference. He plays old school, not old school swag football, old school MEAC, downhill football. I want to test your heart and see if you want to be here. And so if we get the type of performance that we got from our defense in the first 3 quarters against Alabama State, it's going to be a long evening. But if you get some guys that buckle it up tight, and I thank God that Mr. Thomas is back, because he, he will battle, and others, Trey and others.
Right.
But this will be the kind of game if we go right at him. As far as the second guy you mentioned, Langford, he's been with Maynard for what, 3 years now, 4 years? And it doesn't matter. Every time we put him in there, the guy performs. But Maynard don't love him.
They rotated 5 quarterbacks, the other day.
Last year it was what, Quincy Casey, was it? Yeah, the kid from Auburn. Yeah. But it's like every year he goes away from him, and then he put him in the game. He find a way to win the game for you, and then he go away. Well, I hope this game. I hope he goes away from him again. Go find somebody else, anybody but that guy, And so again, we need to try to slow them down. I don't think we're going to keep them off the board. They are an excellent offensive football team who will find a way to score points. I don't think that's where this game is won. We got to limit them. We can't let them do whatever they want. We got to limit them. But we got to get to 30. If we have to get past 30 points, we're not going to beat them at 17 points or 18 points that we're averaging a game. They're going to score points offensively. Defensively, they're suspect.
There we go. Points per game. These guys score 26 points per game compared to their opponents' 40 points. They come into the season 2-3 overall and 0-1 in the conference. As far as first downs, they have 107 on the season. Rushing yards, they have 821. Passing yards, 1,344. For a total of 2,165 yards on the season and 17 touchdowns. As you said, Jerry, quarterback play not. They average about 7.34 yards passing per game or per attempt. They average about 268.8 yards per game passing. As far as running the ball, they average about 164.2 yards per game on the ground.
Yeah. I mean, you know what you're going to get. They're going to run. The good thing is Maynard believes in his offense. He's going to run the RPO game. He's going to turn around and hand the ball off to Eagland, and then he's going to come back and call an RPO at the line of scrimmage and take what you give him. He's going to take what you give him. He won't force anything. His reads are his reads, and he doesn't change no matter what you're doing. He trusts his system. And why would he not? It worked when he was at Winston-Salem. It worked, it's worked everywhere he's gone. Worked at Hampton. It worked everywhere he's gone. And so
it has.
He's won a SWAC with it when he had Brian Jenkins Jr. and some others. He coached Tank Dale from Daytona Beach, Florida, and that guy put up stats. I mean, his offense works. It works. We're not going to stop his offense. We can hope to slow it down, but we got to be up to the task on the opposite side of the ball. We got to come up with something that we can get. I think you got to be looking at scoring 35, 38 points to win this game.
Right. Wow.
Maybe since it's their homecoming, maybe that nasty soul food place y'all went to can feed all the kids ahead of time.
Slow them down a little bit.
Slow them down a little bit. Don't eat the food. Buyer
Don't
beware.
Our Wildcats face Alabama A&M Aggies at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. HBCU go for Alabama A&M homecoming on this Saturday. Jerry, we have to put together a great game plan. We have to put together a great game plan. Do you? Yeah, and you've kind of given us a little bit of the approach. What do we have to do on offense to win this game?
First thing we have to do on offense is execute. I mean, whatever it's called, you got to have guys who want to be there. I keep saying that because if there is something that I worry more about the mental makeup of this team at this point than I do anything schematically. I mentioned that earlier.
Yes.
So the first thing is I want guys who want to be there. Not who think they're good enough to be there. I need guys who want to be there, right? The reason why we get a bunch of holding calls, most of your holding calls come from a lack of effort and technique and guys who don't move their feet and they're reaching and you're cheating because you don't want to be there. It's hard to get a holding call when you go out and you want to hit a guy in his face. You want to be dirty and nasty, right? It ain't nothing to hold. I'm firing off and hitting you. And if you beat me, it's because you're going around me, And so, but in a running game, that creates a hole off the top. So a lot of that is just about who wants to be here. As far as the game plan, I think what I've seen in the times that we've been successful running the football is that inside zone hasn't worked yet. We run the ball off tackle. When we run the ball off tackle, it opens up the best part of Cam Ransom's game is because you run the ball off tackle. It opens up your play action, your boot action. It allows him to simplify his reads because you're cutting down the field. If the read is there, you take it. If it's not, he can use his legs. And so it keeps you on schedule in both the run game, the pass game, and the quarterback run. All three things become live when you start running the ball off tackle. We are married to this inside zone game, which hasn't worked in 2 years. And I don't know if that's just the way we teach it or effort or just talent. I don't know what it is, but it hasn't worked yet.
I think it's a conglomerate of it all.
Well, get rid of it because I think, we can't waste a bunch of, now again, you don't throw away the play for the sake of throwing away the play. Some of it's effort, but something about that's just off. And so what I like to see is us get back to, again, those core plays. Now through 5 games, we figured out the things that work well for us. We figured out what looks good for us. The passing game has been good enough. I don't know how much more dynamic we can be in the passing game. I don't know if we have that level yet of receivers. Can we be more dynamic? Yes. I don't think our passing game will ever look like Alabama A&M. So what we have to do is be able to supplement that by keeping teams off balance with the run, with the pass, with the quarterback run, with the boot action, and then you take the plays that's there. To me, that is my approach offensively is we got to keep these guys off balance by not sacrificing downs, by going to the well 8 times too many with things that don't work. Circle what does work, and then you have enough to feed off of that to keep this defense off balance. Because the other side of that, and that's my last thing, is they don't want to tackle either. They are a bad tackling football team. Maybe we will see the big back this week. Heck, maybe we'll see some of the other backs who can make a guy miss in space. Those guys don't want to tackle. So we got to do enough of a good job with our play calling and at the point of contact to at least get our guys, to the second level and see what happens. See if they want to either tackle us or if they'll start diving at ankles and missing.
So with that being said, we saw what Dennis Palmer can do. Is that who you want to see when you say, let's say big back? He's that big speedy guy who, we saw him slice and dice, Alabama State, and pull him
Yeah,
out.
we saw that. And my question, and so Dennis Palmer got in, he did a nice job. But the type of plays that he was successful on were the same type of plays that JoJo Bazile were successful on against Western Kentucky. So some of that was it because of the running back, or was it because of we actually start going to the well on the things that have actually worked for us? Again, just because it's your philosophy doesn't mean that you have the players to run that scheme or to run that type of, and so at some point, again, where we've had our success running the ball has been off tackle. That's been where our success has been all year. And yet we seem to not do that until we're trailing by a couple scores. So,
right.
So I don't know if it's so much about getting him in there. Would I like to see Palmer? Yes. I like to see Palmer get more snaps because he gives a different type of approach, right? Our other backs are all kind of very similar, so you're not giving the defense a different type of look. So I like to see him get more snaps because he gives us a different approach. But I think more than anything is, hey, here's your 6, 7, 8 plays that have been successful for you. This is where your offensive line is comfortable with. And so sometimes we overcomplicate it when we get to, again, I know we got people here, some people who really know football and some people but sometimes when, you start listening to these coaches start teaching this zone scheme, it's like, am I playing football or I'm over here in the physics department? I don't want to have to count numbers and do all of this. At some point, you just line up and you hit the man in front of you. Now, if you can do that and it works and it looks like Wisconsin, keep doing it. If you do it and it look like us, do something different. It ain't working. I'm talking to you, offensive coordinator. Do something different. Go to the plays that have been successful. So again, the long answer again, is it Palmer or is it the type of plays that he start running against Alabama State look awfully similar to what worked against Western Kentucky or Western Michigan?
Michigan, yeah. Is it?
I think it's a guy who's in love with his own mind. He's in love with his own mind. That's the bottom line. I am not a fan of this offensive coordinator. I've talked to 1,000 people who have had conversations with him, and they will all tell you that this man is an offensive genius. That's what they all say. He understands the game of football. I think he's quite impressive when you put him on a whiteboard and you ask him to explain the game. I think he's very impressive with that. I've not talked to anybody who's come back and say this man doesn't understand football. He knows football. I think he is in love and predetermined in his mind with what he wants to do.
Already.
Well, knowing football and being a good coach is something different, right? He's got to prove that he's a good coach at this level. And to this point, you haven't, Coach. Do we believe you can? Well, obviously, Coach Woody does. He brought you back. And so everybody that I talk to, they all talk about your mind. But you got to prove it. And some of that is being humble enough to say, this is what I want to work, but it ain't working. So maybe I have to build towards this and get the right guys and here to run what I ultimately want to run. But for right now, I either got to simplify it or simplify my play script to, if I got to take these 350 plays that I want to run and reduce that to 35 plays that work, then do what you got to do. But the bottom line is the data is against you. We got 2 years of this.
Very much so.
We got 2 years of this. And everybody is saying the same thing. Everybody with eyes. Everybody's watching this game. Find what works, Coach. Come on.
And
you got the mind for it. Now you got to have the humility for it. That's what I think this is. This is a pride thing.
One big thing that I see that I think is where's the play script? Where is like the situational football to where I go back to the Alabama State game and it's like, okay, it took us forever to score the touchdown to, where we're down 26-21. So we wasted a lot of time to do that, right? So then we're blessed to get the ball back, but because we took so long to advance the ball to the end zone, now you don't have enough time for,
Yeah, well, that was more of an issue last year in Texas Southern, I thought. But, we kind of did the same thing, but we wound up getting the ball back with 2 minutes left. That's plenty of time to go down the field. You can't fumble the first snap, and you can't get a delay of game.
You can't get the delay of game on 4th.
You just lost 10 yards.
Yeah.
You just lost 10 yards. That was a 4th and 9 play that we didn't convert. Well, you take back the fumble snap, and you take back the 5-yard delay penalty, and we're still on schedule. So, the bottom line is it took them too long to get into a rhythm. And so, yeah, I like the idea of having a play script. Again, some of this is, I think that this is just my opinion. I didn't graduate with a degree in psychology. I just get paid to know how people think. I do get paid to know how people think. I really do. Not in sports, but in other words. But the bottom line is, I think that this is more of a pride thing of, you don't know what you don't know. And what you did worked at your last level, right? When he was down in coaching Division III, nobody was on scholarship. Nobody gets scholarships at Division III level. Nobody. Everybody's playing football for the love of the game. So nobody's on scholarship there, which is cool. And then, you playing against guys who's not on scholarship, and it's working out pretty well for you. Well, now you playing against guys who play in Division I football. They are on scholarship. And I think there's just so much pride of, this is what I did in this work, that there's still almost like a proving of a point. I got to prove that this will work at this level. And at some point, you know what? I believe he has the mind to be successful at this level. But now he's got to have the humility again to just come back and just put his pride aside and say, how do we move forward and advance this office and team and do what works?
So true. I'd like to welcome to the show Mr. Stephen Holmes from the Av. Steve, welcome to the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show, man. Glad to have you here with myself and Jerry. We're talking Bethune-Cookman's offense, man. What do we need to do to win out the rest of the season? And we're talking offense right now. From your perspective, what have you seen? What can we do better?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, and I enjoy listening to the pros talk. So I appreciate you guys allowing me to come and join.
Give us too much credit,
professionals. So,
welcome.
Professional armchair quarterbacks. That's what we are. we got all the answers on this side of the microphone. Yeah, none of the answers on
it. Right. Yeah. Well, clearly none of us have answers. So, I think a lot of what you guys are saying, I'm going to piggyback most of it, but I honestly just think it boils down to focus and discipline, because I was discussing it with somebody last week, and it just feels like when you watch us, we pass the eye test, right, as a decent football team. I felt like the last couple of years, we just didn't look like a good football team. We were just defense played well, but I feel like this year, even on both sides of the ball, it just looks like we should not be 0-5, but unfortunately you are what your record says you are. So from an offensive standpoint, I just think they've got to, again, get away from running Bazile and the other kid straight up the middle, which, we have no success with that inside zone, at all. So Jerry, when you said that, I'm sitting over here thank you, amen, because it just has been ineffective. And I also feel like maybe not so much as the last game, but I felt like we were going after big plays too many times, and we weren't setting them up right. And that is a good sign, because right, we have the big play potential now, where we didn't have that last year, at all. So I just think we've got to just stay focused, be disciplined, call a good game. And I think, again, it's all right there in front of us. And, we're right there. I know people don't see it. We were 0-6, I think. Was it last year, year before last year? Before we went 1 or 2 years ago. Yeah, we were 0-6. So we've been here before. I know it doesn't feel like it, but, just what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. All right, Jerry,
Yeah.
what do we got to do on defense, man? Unless you want to respond to Steve.
No, Steve's right. Again, I think again we mentioned, Steve saying, different version of some of the things that we've said, in his own eloquent way. Yeah. And so sounded like a radio host, as he said. But I think on defense, again, a lot of this is going to be about effort and want to, right? And so the first things first, you got to stop the run. I mentioned, I love the Eaglin kid. I love him. I think he's the best running back in this conference. So we're going to have to button up our chin straps, be physical, and be willing to play the run. Now, again, with that, this offense loves the RPO game. So they're banking on you to get down in the box quick and leave some of those passing lanes open and try to pull the ball and, throw it behind you. So we're still going to have to be physical, but we still have to be disciplined in our approach. We can't get lost with with our eye discipline and that sort of thing like we have in the past and leave those lanes open because, what Maynard the offensive coordinator is banking on is you'll get tired of hitting that big guy. And so you'll start cheating and getting down, in the box real quick and then leave those lanes behind them open. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to have to be physical, but we're also going to have to be disciplined in our approach and not give them anything easy. I'd rather them have to hand the ball off 13 times than to give them a 2-play drive.
Steve?
Yeah, I mean, Jerry's on it. Discipline. Like, I don't know how much we can say that, but discipline is where we got to be better at. All that, gap integrity and all that stuff. Like, we just have to be better about. And I think my biggest surprise this year is how the defense fell off from last year. I thought we were going to take a step forward this year defensively. And that Clark game was like, red flags everywhere. Like, like I think we have officially regressed. So yeah, I think that's where we can be better at. Because the offense, I think, has enough for us to win games, but now the defense isn't holding up their end and getting, key stops. And I think in the Alabama State game, I finally saw a moment where the defense finally, they locked in like they were last year. I think it was on those last couple of possessions.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
We did stop and we got them off. I'm like, that's the defense I remember seeing from the year before, who were getting teams off when they needed stops. And unfortunately, it just came too late. We let them get up, 2 or 3 touchdowns. By then, it's too late. You already gassed. So, again, if we can just not let, who we playing?
Alabama A&M.
Alabama A&M. If we don't let them get up early and we play a close game, I feel like it's when we can go in there and steal. But defense for sure has got to step up and just play disciplined football.
Yeah. You know what, you mentioned we regress on defense. You know what, you can almost see the guys thinking out there. Yeah. And that's the part. It's like they're just playing slow. They're slow to react.
Right.
You can see things coming. You can see the hole and you're watching. I won't call out any specific position, but you're looking at a player. You're like, go fill the gap. And they're thinking and they're trying to figure it out. And by the time they get there, now, you got a lineman on the second level blocking them. What could have been a 2-yard gain turns into a 12-yard gain. It's like they're just thinking too much. And again, that's not to say that football isn't a thinking man's game. But at some point, you gotta go. You gotta trust your eyes and go play football, and it's like, so I don't know what
your whole life. Just let it go.
Yeah, and and I want to say, right, because the first thing is like, well, we got so many new starters, but last year everybody was a new starter. It was a whole new coaching staff, and they only had half of a spring really last year, and so this year they go through a whole spring. They go through, and so it's just hard to figure out why they're so much more hesitant this year than they were a year ago. It's hard to figure out.
I think what is going to be, I think, and I haven't caught the whole show, so maybe you guys had talked about this, but I think this bye week is, I mean, could not have come at a better time. And I'm gonna liken it to Florida this past week. Florida needed that bye week. But what happened was when they came back this week, the team looked completely different. They looked formidable again. The defensive side of the ball, like, locked in on stuff. The offense was moving the ball. And I just think you get a chance to get those guys to settle in and get back to what I think they were coaching this summer, because I feel like they got, but you go down 0-5, 0-4, you start to lose focus, you start to forget the stuff you were taught during the summer and in camp, and before you look up, right, and half the season's gone. So now we get this break at the front end of SWAC play, and it's like, okay, let's reset, let's regroup, go. We got 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying, to plan for a big game. So I really think, now let me say this: if we regress this week, y'all, I'm white flagging it.
Well, we got Valley next week, so
well, we felt that way about Clark. We felt that way about Clark.
Before Valley.
Listen, you're right, but still, man, it's like if I'm only saying if we play a good game, I'll be okay with that. We can't regress this week. Like, we can't see any regression at all.
At all.
Yeah. It's one of those kind of crazy things, right? We all remember, sports fans in general always remember the golden era, whatever that era is. Even if you Princeton, you talk about 1923, right? And so, but the truth is one of our we got a lot of women who pay attention to sports. She had to remind me on the Spaces the other day that Bethune-Cookman hasn't won a conference championship in almost 10 years, And so some of us, and I'm saying that for this reason, while we are always saying, well, we're right there, the kids that are out there playing, we're working on 4 years, 4 straight losing seasons if it continues if we don't win out really right now. And so my point of bringing this up is that we've been in this pattern, right? So everybody kind of press, but then we start the year and you play a USF. We're never going to win that game, right? And so it's like all of those good feels you had in the summertime, we're going to do something different. We're going to set a new pattern. And then you go out and you play the first game, and then it kills the confidence. And people start going, uh-oh, is this just like last year? And then you play the Mercer game and you start off well and you have a 42-point swing and you lose your best defensive player. Now the defense never looks the same. So everything starts pressing and then one thing builds upon the other. But I think, again, when you actually watch the game, to Steve's point, we're not really far. We just got to figure out how to put all of that together. But again, right now, to go back to where I started is I think this is much more about the mental aspect of the game than, the offensive coordinator scheme. I know I kind of went in on them a little bit and all that stuff, but this is, hey man, you guys can do this. Go out and prove it.
Yeah. And imagine if we can go out here and win Saturday. You go pick up, we should beat Valley. You come into homecoming feeling like it's a new season.
Jacked up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of the people who don't pay attention to this, to the league and the sport and the way the games are played like we do, and I've said it a couple of times and I've gotten kind of kicked back on it. But man, those first 3 or 4 games, they serve their purpose. We went, we got a check, we lost. All right, we going on, we keep on going. Those games don't get us to Atlanta in December. None of them. Even the Clark, that doesn't get us to December, So these games will get us, to Atlanta in December. So this is what we should focus on. And I hope that's how those guys are thinking. I hope they are just looking at their season as having 1 loss as opposed to 5, 5 or 6. I hope they're saying, okay, 1 loss. So
let's get it back on track. And I some of them are saying, let's do what we need to do to win out. A lot of them came here for their final season to win a championship, and hopefully they have not lost focus of that. And so like I said, we get some guys back this week, and I think that helps us out greatly. Yeah, I think that helps.
I mean, let's look around this conference. Like, it's not that many really good teams in this conference. Let's just face it. No. Like, everybody can. It's a lot of parity in this conference, is what it is. But there's not a single guarantee in this conference. Nobody shows up and I'm like, okay, that's a guaranteed win or guaranteed loss. There's a lot of parity in this conference. And so you're right. You get some things going well. You win a game, you go and upset them on their homecoming up in Huntsville. You go back, you go out and play Valley. You got 2 under your belt. You're 2-1, and you're 1 game out of first place in the SWAC East. And guess what? You play Alabama State already got their loss. You still got Jackson State in front of you. You got FAMU in front of you, and so you just gotta. It's 1 game at a time, but we're not that far off, and we are still in this thing.
Daryl, I'm curious. You said we got some guys coming back. Who is coming back this week? I'm just curious.
We should have 2 of our Mike linebackers back this week.
Well, okay.
Thomas and Pastor.
Huge.
Play time. Yeah. I don't know how much they'll have, but we should have them back this week. So, like you said, that the open week helped a lot. So, and then as the season progresses, we should be getting a couple more guys back on our O-line to help us out. So,
yeah,
fingers
that is a hidden thing on the offensive line. We're down our 2 best offensive linemen. I mean, that's huge. And so, and we don't have the kind of depth there yet that we can lose our top 2 and you're not feeling
right.
Because that everybody gets bumped up, 2 spots really, right? And so, so that's huge. But
and it comes down to, and that, for that's why we're having to, play the bigger quarterback because the line that you came into the season with that you'd hope for that would give you, an opportunity to play more guys. We just don't have that right now.
So is that what happened with Luke Sprague, you think?
Yes. Sprague and and I know Micah comes into the game, but you're talking size-wise, you're talking about the same. And then having to scramble and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But we gotta tell Cam he's got to limit his, contact. I know you want to give contact, but
Yeah. Cam's the best runner of the 3 quarterbacks that we have.
Yes.
And he's certainly the bigger one. It's nobody's told me this, but it's just my unofficial opinion is that the reason that Cam is the starting quarterback is because of what he adds to the run game. And that's because you can't trust this offense like he's our best run. He's our leading rusher of the year.
Yes.
So, it's hard. You put in a Luke Sprague, and then what do you have? Any semblance of? You have no semblance of a running game. Micah, maybe you put him in there. He can throw and run, but with the offensive line that's, with a lot of injuries and adjustments and, and that sort of thing. You putting this guy out there. He weighs 168 pounds with rocks in his pocket, and so maybe a little bit more than 168, but not much more, but maybe 180, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, we saw against even against Clark when he did go in there to one play and they rushed. Was not good.
Nope.
Good.
So.
Yeah. But that's what we have, guys.
Yeah.
We're going to come back and talk about this more. We're going to hear a word from our sponsor, Alpha One Staffing, the great people over at Alpha One Staffing. They are currently hiring for debris monitors across the state of Florida to help with Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton recovery. So we'll hear a word from our sponsor. Stand by.
As we begin to reconsider how and where we want to work, Alpha One Staffing is here to help companies bridge the talent gap.
I really struggled to find a second career on my own after my retirement.
It's been hard for us to find the right candidates. Candidates who will push our team and business to the next level.
Then I heard about Alpha One Staffing.
Then I heard about Alpha One Staffing.
Then I heard about Alpha One Staffing.
Alpha One Staffing partnered with our HR team to help us understand exactly how to navigate this new digital world, even recommending strategies for recruitment and employee development.
I needed a job that would support my needs and lifestyle while also challenging me. Alpha One Staffing was completely transparent and knowledgeable about the process and provided me with the tools to feel more confident and prepared. I couldn't wait to start my new career.
We partner with our clients and assess their needs. We are the matchmakers, and our goal is to provide each client with the candidates that make a difference within their organization.
Alpha One Staffing understood that we needed a candidate with digital marketing experience in our industry. Someone with an innovative mindset who could help expand our social media presence. Now, we couldn't be happier with our presence online and the impact that we are making globally.
Alpha One Staffing presented us with incredible, highly qualified, and dedicated candidates. We will definitely be using Alpha One Staffing for our next hire.
I was hired permanently after 6 months. This wouldn't have happened without Alpha One Staffing helping me get my foot in the door. If you're looking for work, I highly recommend Alpha One Staffing.
If you're a job seeker or an employer, go to alphaonestaffing.com and send us your resume or tell us about your hiring needs today.
When a disaster strikes, will you step in to help your community? Alpha One Staffing is currently seeking disaster debris monitors to assist in supporting our neighbors, businesses, and government institutions by supervising the debris cleanup efforts. Alpha One Staffing, a leader in Florida staffing solutions, partners with state and local governments to provide trained debris removal monitors to supervise complex disaster debris operations, focusing on compliance and safety. These monitors will not be handling the physical labor, but the oversight of debris removal. To learn more about this position and to apply, please visit alphaonestaffing.com.
We'd like to thank our friends over at Alpha One Staffing. Go to alphaonestaffing.com/debris monitors to apply for a position today. Currently, they are seeking staff members for debris monitors in Charlotte, Lee, Sarasota, and Miami-Dade counties. And there will be more added to the list. So if you are looking for employment, roughly around $1,300 weekly or more per week, alphaonestaffing.com/debris monitors. Now is the time where we want to hear from you. We know that Hurricane Milton has passed through. We want to hear from our Wildcat faithful. We're talking Wildcat football. We also want to hear from you, hear from our Wildcat faithful throughout the state of Florida or wherever you may call from. We want to hear from you. The call-in number, 386-287-1226. 386-287-1226. We want to hear from you on the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show. So, Jerry,
Daryl,
we're
go ahead.
Yeah. No, you go ahead.
While we're waiting on our first caller to come through, I do want to send a shout out to all of the non-Bethune-Cookman alumni and fans, those from around the SWAC. We've seen some of our FAMU brethren, some other people from other SWAC schools and MEAC schools and HBCUs in general who have decided to donate $19.04 to Bethune-Cookman to aid in any cleanup efforts around the campus. And so we just want to say shout out to all you guys showing some HBCU love. And while we roast each other and we joke and laugh, and sometimes things get a little bit on the edge when it comes down to what's really important. You know, it's nothing like being a part of that HBCU family supporting one another. So for everyone who decided to help the university, specifically for those who are not associated with it, not a graduate, I should say, of the university or a normal supporter, thank you guys for this effort. We appreciate it, and it goes a long way just to say that, to know that we're thought of.
Definitely so. And we thank you very much, and keep it coming. We truly appreciate the support from across the country, as Jerry said. 386-287-1226, 386-287-1226. Hey, Jerry, I kind of asked you earlier, but and I know we said time away. We've been through this before. I don't think we went through this with this coaching staff. I think previously it was with the previous coaching staff. What's different this time? And I think we were playing when we went to Alabama A&M the last time, right? That's what started off that.
Yeah, that was what, 4 weeks away?
Yeah.
Was it 4 weeks away? Yeah. Something like that. It was like almost a whole month. Close. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we're going to figure out what's different this time. Hopefully, at least by the initial observations, hopefully the campus is in decent shape. We know we saw a lot of flooding. Midtown, Midtown Daytona is going to flood when it rains hard. But we didn't see the kind of external visible damage that we saw in the last storm. So hopefully the buildings are in better shape. Last time, again, the school was in awful shape and just wasn't. I mean, you couldn't have classes.
Yeah, definitely.
Last time around because of all the damage. So hopefully we're able to resume some normalcy around campus next week. Hopefully that's different. I mean, as starters, I'll tell you this: one of the best trips that I've ever had with the Let's Go Wildcats. The trips that we had. We took a bus trip up to Louisiana, and I remember kind of figuring out, do I want to go or not go because the hurricane. We just decided let's ride out. Let's not ride out the storm here. Let's take a bus trip to Louisiana. And so we did that.
Definitely.
It's probably one of the best bus trips that I've taken to go up to southeastern Louisiana, win that game. I think the team even had to stay over in Louisiana and practice at Southern for a couple of days when that happened. So, again, to the point that we made earlier, sometimes these getaways are exactly what the doctor ordered.
Most definitely. I think so. And knowing this coach's staff, they will have it locked in, and, shout out to the administration for making that quick decision and getting those guys out of harm's way prior to the hurricane hitting. And, shout out to Georgia Tech for allowing us to practice at their facility, and all the persons, as you said earlier, who helped us out with our travel. So.
Yeah. And hopefully this time, hopefully they're having fun right now. I mean, I say that, it's like, because sometimes I love, I'm gonna be careful what I say. Well, I want to be careful. Is sometimes I think we over prepare as a coaching staff. Sometimes I think we get a little bit too, we over prepare. And so hopefully they're not, in these guys' heads too much and got them too tight going into the game. But that, again, you want to be prepared. But you want to, again, at some point, just go have some fun and play. So hopefully they were able to figure that out and have some fun up there and kind of relax a little bit and not just be so tight when they play. And we're going to see in 2 days, right? That, what comes of
definitely.
This. So.
From some of the pictures I've seen on, the Instagrams and the Facebook, it seems like those guys are having a good time. Know what they're there
Atlanta's
for.
a good place to have a good time. You can find a good time in Atlanta,
Yes.
So
I ran into some of those guys
as a college kid in Atlanta.
Wow. Yeah.
If you can't have a good time, I don't know what to tell you.
Right. Yeah, I ran into some of those guys in Bucky the other night, Monday night, and I just told them, I was like, hey man, lock in, know what you're there for. but just go play football.
Yeah, maybe I want to get back about the fun part in Atlanta. Oh, I gotta put on my preacher hat for a second. Yeah, the right kind of fun, guys. Stuff to get into up there. Yeah,
boy, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot. That one. Yeah. Hopefully, like you said earlier, hopefully they're in Alabama now.
Yeah. It ain't a lot to get into in Huntsville.
No, not at all.
You go look at the Rockets, yeah. And so
that's it. Yeah, Space Center, Tuskegee Airmen, and all that. Go venture out.
Yeah.
386-287-1226. 386-287-1226. We want to hear from you. Hey, we're checking on you, making sure you're all right. You got damage, you got flooding. We want to hear from you. Let the Wildcat faithful know that you're good. Very, very vicious storm that moved through the Florida area. We're a little over 24 hours since landfall. There in Siesta Key, a Cat 3 hurricane. Hope all our Wildcats are doing fine. Want to hear from you. 386-287-1226. That is the number to call in to the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show. I'm sure some people, phones down, don't have power, things of that nature.
Yeah, it's a little.
We're here to help.
A little difficult. Yeah, it's a little difficult right now. Again, with so many lines down. I mean, I got family members who have power lines down in their front yard. Thankfully, they weren't there when it happened, but so they don't have to worry about dealing with it. But as far as the danger of getting out, other family members in Daytona that have water in a couple of rooms in their homes. So, people are impacted, and that's some of the beauty of sports, right? We get real tight about this, but the reason that we get tight is because it is kind of a distraction from life, right? It gives you something to look forward to, gives you something to bond around, and all of that. So, hopefully on Saturday, we have people who can come together, and if they can't make the trip, then they can huddle around a TV or go to a sports grill or something and then take the game in and then just enjoy it with some other people and just get your mind on something that give you a little bit of a smile on your face for a couple of hours.
Definitely so. Hopefully everyone is in the place where they're supposed to be here in Volusia County. If you're in Volusia County, there's a curfew tonight, 9 p.m. until 5 in the morning. So let's not try Chief or Sheriff Chitwood and Chief Young. Let's do what we need to do.
Chitwood will put you in jail with a smile on his face. He'll go on West Channel 2 and tell all the rest of us about it. So I don't know, Miss Emma, if you were going to leave your house, be careful. Chitwood coming to get you.
Yes.
Because you want a tuna fish salad.
From Buc-ee's.
From Buc-ee's. Leave it alone, Miss Emma. Yeah.
386-287-1226. 386-287-1226. Hey, we want to hear from you. Even if you don't call in, let us know how you're doing over here in the chat. We had pretty good chat going on over here, and it just, slowed down a little bit. Everybody got scared of that curfew at 9 o'clock, Jerry, and it slowed down. But
everybody checking on Miss Emma. Make sure she got her tuna fish salad. Yeah, that's what it is. And so
Miss Emma is ready to go to Alabama. Yeah, we're still going. We're still going to head up there. Hey, how's it going, Travis? We're still going to head up to Alabama and cheer on our guys. As some of the players said, they love to see us. So we're going to do that. If you can't make the trip, we understand. Please tune in to the game on HBCU Go, which is the Griot. Caller, welcome to the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show. Welcome. Hey, Willie, how's it going, man?
How about yourself?
Doing good, Willie. If you can just hold on just a moment, we're having a little technical difficulties, but we'll get that taken care of here in just a second, man. Sorry about that. Had one of our lines pull out. All right, you there, Willie?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, Willie. Glad to have you on, man. I know you were out of the country for a little bit. You going to Alabama? How's things up in Atlanta? I know Helene kind of came through there. You didn't have any damage or anything from Helene?
So we were going. It was a group of about 20 of us going, but most was from Florida.
Okay.
We could still get over there. Everybody, no flights coming in. Nobody could get here.
Gotcha.
So,
Understood.
See what's going on.
Understood. What you got for us, Willie?
You know, I'm very critical of our football team. I'm the first one.
I didn't notice.
You know, you guys not playing good. Now,
Go
I
ahead.
can see the need for nutrition and things like that, but maybe I'm from the turn of the century in 1900. You can have all the nutrition you want, but hell, if you don't have heart and the want to play football, it ain't gonna happen.
You ain't got enough.
I can tell you. I've been around this Wildcat football team since 1972. I've seen the team back in 1994 when Coach McLaren came back.
Mm-hmm.
That the team was losing, but you could see the fight in them. You could see the fight and say, "Oh man, this team gonna do something," and they did. They came around. They won 2 or 3, 4 games at the end of the season. Even beat A&M in 1994.
Right.
But and I'm just gonna say there's one thing about you and Jerry was talking about tackling that big back. I'm telling you something. If you're not practicing this week to tackle a big back, you're not gonna tackle him on Saturday. That ain't gonna happen. So I hope they're practicing like we did. I think when we was going to play Tuskegee backs average, the smallest one was 215, the biggest one was 260, and we had to tackle our linebackers all week before we got to the game. So, and then we did pretty well.
Yeah, but if you, like you said, if you're not doing it, oh my gosh. Yeah. You still there, Willie? I think we lost Willie.
So we lost Willie. I mean, I think Willie was kind of saying, kind of what we were talking about earlier, right? This game is going to be as much about what's in on the inside of you as it is any scheme. Who wants to be there? Just figure out who wants to play.
It's definitely about who wants to play, Jerry, and it's mano a mano. You got to go do your job, and like you say, stop thinking about it and just play the game of football that you've always, we've always learned tackling. Whether you were on offense or defense, you still had to tackle, because if you fumbled the ball or interception and somebody scooped it up, you got to go tackle the person. If you're on offense, defense, that's your job. So
yeah, you know something I don't get, Daryl. This always strikes me, right? You got 60 minutes to play football. Right?
Right.
Everybody celebrate you for what you do in between the whistles, in between the white lines. I'm shocked by how many guys on this team, how many times we've seen, guys go out in between the whistles and they give, some effort. And then the whistle was blown, then they get real tough and want to fight.
Bro, it is crazy.
I don't get it. Like you can legally fight in football for 60 minutes. They call that a play, right? One team on offense, one team on defense, 2 teams on special teams at the same time. Either way, you have the legal right to go out and be violent. We celebrate it. But then they give half effort during the whistle. And then when the whistle is blown, everybody's tough and want to
I'm
fight.
tough guy.
The craziest thing in the world to me. If you were that tough, you hit that man in the face when he had the ball in his hand, not when he's on the sideline running away, So, yeah, I'm with you, Mr. Jackson. Let's figure out who wants to be there, who wants to play football, who's a real tough guy, who's a fake tough guy.
You back with us, Willie?
Yeah, I'm back with you.
All right, we got you.
Yeah, yeah, Jerry, you made a good point there. I mean, because it's like the old saying from Bunky Matthews, you always told you got to want it. If you don't want it, you're not gonna get it.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that. Hey, you too, Willie, man. You making it over to Alabama?
We're trying to.
Okay.
No, but like I tell you, a group of 20 couldn't get from Florida. I guess you guys won't make it because you can't come now. You know,
we'll be there.
Oh, will you?
Okay. Yeah, we'll be there. Less than what was coming, but we'll be there. We'll have a good number of people there to cheer our guys.
Okay. Well, stop by the tailgate. They're going to have one.
We will do that. We will do that.
Okay.
All right.
Well, you guys keep doing a good show, and I tune in every Thursday.
Thanks a lot, Willie. We truly appreciate it, man. Thank you for all you're doing for Bethune-Cookman Athletics, man, and Bethune-Cookman.
All right.
All right, man. Have a good night. Yes, sir. Caller, welcome to the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show. Welcome.
Hey there, homeboy.
Hey, man. How's it going?
I commend you. You guys have a good show going. I concur with Jake 100%. You got to want it. And I'm not sure, I've been to all of the home games so far. And I haven't seen that 1973 through 1977 want it. Those teams that we had back then played as a team and played as though they wanted to win. And, we got to play as a team and not as an individual. I noticed that when we tackle high, but those legs keep going, and you're not going to stop someone, in my opinion now, when you're hitting them high and their legs are keep going, they're going to take you with them.
Oh, for sure.
So in order to stop someone, you got to take the legs from up under them. And we got to get out of the mentality of wanting to make a good hit on a guy versus going in and putting our arms, wrapping our arms around him and stopping him. But with all that, I am supporting the Wildcats 100%. I'm going to be with them, rain or shine. But I'm looking for us to get back to that time where we are playing like we want to win. We want to be the best in the SWAC. We want to be the best HBCU school there is. When we play a school like South Florida, I don't go in with the idea that, well, we're going to get a paycheck. I'm going in with the idea that we're going to win this game. And I just, like to say to our players, if they're listening, just go in with the mentality that you got to beat us because we're going in to beat you.
There you go. There you go. Hey, man, how did you fare with the storm?
So very well. I didn't lose any power this time. Winds was fierce. I did get up about 3 o'clock and go outside, but I quickly retreated to come back in because those winds was really, really howling. My brother over in Tampa, he didn't do so well. They lost power, but, the lives are still there.
Gotcha.
And,
good.
As long as we have breath in our body, we can make up for the other.
Yes, sir. Definitely. Well, thanks for calling, man. Thank you very much, Mr. Carter, and we look forward to talking to you on other Hail Wildcat Gridiron shows, man. Praying for everyone over in the Orlando area that they will recover and get back to 100%.
Hail Wildcats.
Hail Wildcats. Yes, sir. Have a good night. 386-287-1226, Sorry, 386-287-1226. That is the number. Speak to us here on the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show. Call in, check in with us. We love to hear from you. Caller, you're on the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show.
Right now?
Yes, you're on the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show. Welcome.
Thank you. I just had a question about who do we need to win the game? Like when we get to the game, who do we need to put in, or what are we doing wrong to win the game?
Sounds like a young Wildcat there. Sounds like I know that voice, but we just need a lot of team spirit and come together as a team, play football like we know how to play football. As we said earlier in the show, we've showed inklings of being able to win. We have to finish. Finish is the big word that we have to do. You know, we've shown that we can get up big on teams and, do what we need to do to successfully win the game, but you gotta finish it. You know, it's not over until the clock shows 0-0-0 in the fourth quarter and you have more points than the other team. So collectively, we just have to have 11 players on offense and 11 players on defense, know what they're there for, know what that logo on the front of their jersey says. We're Wildcats. We don't lose, whether home or away. And that's what we have to do. Jerry, is there a specific person or whoever that you think we need to put in the game?
No, I think this is about effort. This is about control. Here's what you can't control the outcome of things. You can't control whether the play works or not work. What you can control is did you do your job? Did you play hard? Did you do what was expected of you? Did you give maximum effort? And that's really it. I mean, that's really what do we need to do? Everybody in there needs to give maximum effort. You give maximum effort, and then you let the outcome be whatever the outcome's going to be. Some of the frustration that we're hearing. Yeah. Some of the frustration we're hearing from Mr. Carter and then Mr. Jackson and others is there's nothing worse in sports, and of all the sports, football. There's nothing worse than someone questioning your effort and your heart. And what you're hearing from guys who played the game, people who are at every game, is that they're starting to question these guys' effort. And you just can't have that as an athlete. Right? You can control that. You can't control what play the coach call. You can't control who the ball is thrown to, unless you're the quarterback. You can't control a lot of that stuff. What you can control is, are you doing your job and are you giving maximum effort? So what do we need to do to win? We need people to give maximum effort, do their job, and then we'll see what happens at the end. We let the results the results come if you do that. But you can't have guys going through the motion.
Hopefully that answers your question, young Wildcat. Well, thank you.
I have one more. Is that okay?
Yes, go ahead. Yes, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. I have a question about the most improved player this year. Or did I already ask for that?
Yeah.
Most improved player.
They would have had to be here last year, right? To be.
Yeah. I mean, you think about that. I like 21. He wasn't here last year, but he started off the year. He was not a starter to start the year. I like how he's come along throughout the year. So he would go on that list, the most improved.
I'd say 40 has played up to
Darren Davis, right?
Yes.
Linebacker.
Yes.
He's played nice. I don't know if you consider this guy the most improved player because he had a good year last year, but right now, Adrian Hall, defensive tackle, number 44.
44.
He is 44. What did I say? Whatever.
Yeah, no,
44.
you said it right. Yeah, 44.
Okay. Adrian Hall, he is, I don't know if you can say most improved because he was really good last year, but he's taken his game to the next level. And I think he's probably our defensive MVP up to this point. So shout out to Adrian Hall Jr. He's had a very, very, very good year. And he's even gone a step above where he was last year. So
definitely, I would agree, Jay. So that's what we have. Caller, we thank you for calling in to the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show. We look forward to talking to you again, and Hail Wildcat.
Thank you.
So
thank you.
Here's something. You can't say this guy's the most improved player because only he has an opportunity to tie the all-time collegiate return touchdown record, and that's one Mr. Darnell D's.
Darnell D's, yes, sir.
I think
you're right.
I think we may be witnessing history this week. Again, no one in the history of NCAA football has ever returned more than 7 kickoff returns for touchdown. Darnell D's has 6. I think 2 things. Number one, I think they're going to kick the ball to him. I think they're going to kick it to him.
I do believe so. Yeah.
And I think they're going to score some points. So they'll kick it to him more than one time. So, maybe we'll see history this weekend. Maybe we'll see Darnell Books add his name into, the list of all-time greats, and not just Wildcats, but all of college football, if you can believe that.
Definitely so. I would agree. We've been waiting for a couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah.
So, caller, you're on the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show. Welcome.
Good evening to you all, and I hope you all are safe down. I'm calling from Monroe, Louisiana. My name is Chuck Hunt, and it's my first time watching and listening to the show. And I was just curious. I'm from Spike Country, where I am. I'm close to Grambling State University.
Yes, sir.
And yes, and I was just wondering the attitudes of the people right now. Way Bethune-Cookman's season has been going. Are they becoming restless, or are they being patient? I'm just curious.
And that's a great question. Thank you for calling in, Mr. Hunt. We're glad you're tuning in to the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show, and we're glad to have you calling in. We discussed a lot of this on last week and on our spaces. And there's some restlessness amongst the fans, but we also discussed that, realistically, we have to look at this is our coach's first full recruiting year. And we have to give him time for those guys to develop. We did bring in a lot of transfers. We brought in a lot of transfers. And whenever you do that, you got to give them time also to gel.
That's true.
We've went through 5 games now. This is the 6th. So this upcoming game against Alabama A&M will tell you a lot. And I hope it doesn't get our fan base. Well,
Mr. Hunt, I'm gonna jump in here. Yeah. I'm gonna jump in here because Daryl is giving you a reasonable answer. So there's two different answers, right? There's what's the reasonable expectation, which is what Daryl is leaning into, right? He understands that programs take time to build. That's the reasonable expectation to lean into. Your question was, how are the fans? The fans are restless, and it is, we're working on, again, 4 years of a losing season, and the people in Daytona are not. Now, there's many reasons. There are things that are outside of football that lean into this. There's things that lean into, again, we've been without a president. Hopefully we catching up on that, and there's a bunch of things going on. This is the second major hurricane that's hit the campus that caused some setbacks. There's a lot of things. But going into this season, there was a quiet optimism about Bethune-Cookman football, and this being really a rally cry to kind of mend a lot of those wounds going into this year. And people kind of dealt with the first 3 games, with 2 being FBS programs, 1 being Mercer, who's currently ranked number 7 in FCS. So losing those first 3 games were okay. And then we lost to Division II Clark Atlanta, who's a very good football team. And that's when people were like, wait, hold on. And that restlessness went from patience and quiet optimism to, oh, Lord, we're in the dungeon, and I don't know if we're ever going to get out. so now so maybe there's an appeal to people to say, let's see how the season go. That's reasonableness, but people are restless and they want to see it right now.
You're exactly right, and it happened. Who spoiled you all? I think I remember you all back first time seeing you all back when you legendary Wildcat, who's a Pro Football Hall of Famer, Larry Little. That's my first time seeing him coach. My being younger, and my father told me so much about him through the Miami Dolphins years, and I saw his teammate, the great dresser, Alvin Shine Wyatt, when he had the Wyatt bone. Watch those teams, some great teams. Then you think about Brian Jenkins, what he brought down there, and it just, it's so much of that. You think about it, how those coaches spoiled you all, and all that success that you all have had, and I imagine it is kind of I would say I can't read your minds. I can imagine it is restless. Think about what you've had there. I imagine how people, up here at Grambling, how people felt Eddie Robinson spoiled Grambling, and that's been the expectation. It's just any of these schools, and that school, I don't know if I'm gonna call that name. I know it's your rival, but Jack Gaither spoiled them, and
right.
And just think about Southern, A.W. Mumford spoiled them. That's the expectation of Southern. Yes,
definitely. And then we also kind of the spoiling with our recruiting. This year, you bring in those names, and then it's you expect to have a great season with bringing in those names, and where they come from, and it doesn't, it hasn't panned out to be that. So
right,
and the changing the landscape as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I was going to say the coach that Raymond Woody, the coach that Raymond Woody replaced was Terry Sims. Terry Sims got run out of town. He got fired.
Yeah.
He got fired, and he was one or two games under 500. He was right around 500. And so he was here for 5 years, had three good years, and the last 2 years couldn't kind of get it out of gear, and he got fired. And so, but his overall record was around 500. Raymond Woody is 3-13, 3-14, something like that. People are restless. And so again, it doesn't mean, I think there is, to the point, it doesn't mean that we don't need to take a step back and realize that it's not a magic pill. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes not just a good football coach, but a good athletic department. It takes an administration. It is a lot of stuff that goes into having, to winning. And so it takes time. And so, but fans don't care about that. It's the truth. It doesn't change the reality.
I want it now. Yeah. Right. I want it now. Yeah.
Yes.
It's microwave effect. That's where we are now with athletics. Yes.
Definitely. So we'll see this week.
We got time.
Yeah.
Still got time to get there.
Yes. And now I see the national letter and it has come to an end in this age of where we are now in college athletics. That's for another topic. But yes.
It definitely has. We'll see how that changes the ever-changing landscape. Yeah.
Ever-changing landscape. You're exactly right. I'm not gonna be on here. I know you have a lot of callers out there, but I'm glad you all are safe.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, we're glad we can be on here and bring it to the fan base, and give them something to at least tune into. Yeah, definitely.
Lift their spirit.
Definitely. Definitely so.
All right.
Yes, sir.
I'm about to get off this phone. You got to get ready to work in the morning.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
We thank you, Mr. Hunt, and we look forward to hearing from you again, man. Thanks for calling into the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show.
All right. It's always it's great to converse with you all for the first time ever. You all take care down there.
Yes, sir. You also. God bless.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
Sir.
Same to you all.
Oh, 386-287-1226. 386-287-1226. Man, Jerry, Todd, you got off of you and got on to me, man.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. He deserved whatever it is. He did it, and he deserved it. Just leave me alone. Ralph told me to tell you to give Daryl a hard time.
Please don't.
I sold you out. I'm sorry, Daryl, my boy, man. I just sold him up the river, man.
It's okay. I'm bringing the peace offering to Alabama, Taji.
She said I couldn't count. I use my fingers and toes.
You a little heard about that, man.
What did you do wrong, Daryl?
Oh, I was being reasonable.
Shame on you.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. Daryl was cleaning it up. Yeah. So
oh my gosh.
But listen, I'll say this, if I'm a head football coach, if I am an assistant football coach, I don't want to coach anywhere where there's no expectations. If there's no expectations, you are in a bad football place. And so you go into place, there should be expectations. Now, do they have to be reasonable? Do you still need support? Absolutely. In a place like Bethune-Cookman, let's face it, are you going to have all of the accoutrements that you need and all of the extras? No, you're not. You're not. It's okay. But you know what? You know that before you go into it. And so, we don't have the best of facilities. And, we still have a new athletic director. Our administration is still coming together and trying to figure out the next, what is the strategic plan, the strategic vision for Bethune-Cookman for the next 5, 10, 15 years. All of that's true. But let's face it, this coaching staff, every one of them, they knew that before they took the job. And so, it's not your fault. It's not all your fault, but it's your problem to resolve now. And so now we got to deal with this, the reality of here's what's in front of us. I think there's enough resources, and it's not, you look at Alcorn is not the most ideal situation, and Jackson has their issues, and Southern has their issues, and there's not quite half. Don't judge my math, Taj, but there are a number of HBCU schools right now who don't have a president. We're not the only ones. So this is just what college athletics look like today. This is what administrations look like today. NIL is changing things. Transfer portal is changing things. Kids don't stick around for it. Yada, 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 yada. At the end of the day, the field is 100 yards long, 53 in the third, yards wide. You got 11 players on both sides. It takes 10 yards to get a first down. It's still football. And at some point,
you got to beat those guys who line up.
You got to beat the other guys, because while you making excuses, the other guys are celebrating and dancing. So, not that any of the coaches to make an excuse. You get what I'm saying? I'm saying there are obstacles there, but everybody has obstacles to overcome, and not very many HBCUs are sitting, on easy street and have everything that they ask for. It's just the reality of things.
386-287-1226. Man, this chat over here, Jerry, and Facebook.
I'm glad.
On fire.
I don't even know if I want to know. I'm not going to look. Yeah.
386-287-1226. 386-287-1226. We want to hear from you on the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show. You got questions? We have some answers. We don't have all the answers, but we have some answers.
And listen, I get it. Again, there are things that, there are things that we wish were different. All of us, and there's some things that are in our control that we can improve on 100%, but part of that is growing into the position and growing into the reality of what's around us. Right. It's like, that's just part of it again. But, right now, none of that, none of what's going on outside of football has anything to do with the fact that I'm watching guys see another man with the football in the hole and you diving at his ankles because you're scared to hit him. That don't have nothing to do with nobody else. That's your heart, brother. That's what that is. None of that has anything to do with dropping passes and fumbling ball snaps on first down. None of that has anything to do with getting 15-yard personal fouls and holding calls. So, it's at some time, it's a kid's game. And so sometimes we overcomplicate and we start looking for excuses. Go look in the mirror. You got everything you need to correct it.
And some of those guys, don't have another year to do it.
Nope.
if you're looking for, the next level, you won't make it there.
Some of those guys, no, that's too honest. I'm gonna be good.
Say it in a political way.
I said in because I don't mean some of those guys. You see some. You can understand why some of these guys had the star rating that they had. You can see the raw talent, ability, and you can see flashes in which they make amazing plays. And you go, that's it. That dude right there has it. And then for whatever reason, they can't replicate it. And so you try, and it's like you check out. And so you start to figure out, okay, the reason why this guy transferred in is not because he's a bad football player. It's because he can't reproduce it play after play after play. And is that because of a lack of focus? Is that because of a lack of repetition? Because you don't have a lot of snaps, so whatever reason, there's reasons why you can see it. But again, you can see the talent. Like Steve said earlier, we look the part. We look like a 500 or better team as far as talent and how we move around. But there's a disconnect between us being able to repeat it. Do it again. Remember what was that? What was the movie? Remember the Titans? Remember Coach got blown? Do it again. And it's like, and there's something for some reason we can't repeat success over and over again. And so you see, like, okay, I see why this guy was a whatever star. And then you come back and go, okay, I see why they transferred, because they can't keep doing it. And all I'm saying is like that, a lot of that is just mental.
If you and I know it's up to the guys with transfer in a lot of that, but if you are doing what you're supposed to do, the majority of these coaches will not allow you to transfer because you have that it factor that they're looking for. And so they're going to do whatever they can to retain you at where you were. So that's it.
And there are some guys who, some coaches will call and say, hey, this guy be good for you. They're a better fit. We got somebody in this position who's, and that happens. So that doesn't mean if you're a transfer, you're trash. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that it becomes obvious, that what we're seeing this year is the lack to repeat success over and over again. And that's what we're falling up short on. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe after, 5 games, it'll start to click for some of these guys.
Hopefully. Caller, you on the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show. Welcome.
Hello. This is Brian Thompson from Boca. Just watching the film Alabama A&M. Strong O-line. Just wondering if they would maybe potentially switch it to a 3-4, more pressure.
We don't know game plan on what they're looking at. I'm sure we will show a couple of different fronts, hopefully, to be able to, not allow those linemen to get, mano-a-mano, hands on you, head up on you, and get their hands on you and drive you off the ball. So no matter what we're in, as we've been saying, we got to shed that man. That's what you got to do. You got to get off that block. You got to get to the man who has the ball, Will we put ourselves in better situations? In 5 games, we haven't seen it. Jerry, what do you think?
I couldn't hear all of the question. It broke up a little bit, but I think there was a question about are we willing to change our fronts to deal with their. I couldn't hear the question. It kind of was going in and out. What was the question again?
He was saying that, I got you, Brian. He was saying that, they have pretty good sized linemen and up front for Alabama A&M. Will we, do you think our DC will change to a 3-4?
I don't think that we're going to see wholesale changes from the defense. And I'm not certain that we have to see wholesale changes. We are an undersized defense. And so,
Yes.
you know, we're not going to live with, you know, with pushing, you know, pushing guys around. We're going to try to be, this defense is built upon, you know, assignments. Like this defensive coordinator will sit a guy down who's made a good play, but it wasn't the assignment that he was supposed to run, because it is about lining up and sticking to your assignment. We've seen it over and over and over again. And so I don't expect wholesale changes as far as, you know, our approach to this game being any different. I mean, we beat the same team last year, running the defense that we're running right now. But what we had was, we have guys who gave heck of an effort last year. So this is going to be more about, again, what's between the ears and going out and getting. And I'm not certain that we need to change, you know, wholesale. I don't think we have the personnel to run 3-4, to be honest with you. You know,
no, I don't. Yeah.
So
I don't think we do. I don't think we do. I think we lost our caller, but
yeah. I don't think we have that personnel, but, you know, and again, it's, you know, it's not just that. I think this offense, I don't think you got to be able to tackle. You notice what I said? It's not about gearing up to stop the run, because they throw the ball fairly well too. So you got to be, they're pretty balanced, right? And so this is about, again, doing your job more than scheme. It's just do your job. And
we got to get, you know, the pass rush has to be there. We got to get off blocks. You got to have the gap integrity, and just, you know, we got to tackle. That's the favorite word, you know, right now, tackling.
I don't worry about our defensive front in this game, honestly. My eyes in this game, I'm not worried about the linebackers, assuming that the guys who are injured actually come back and actually get on the field and play. I think my concern in this game is because of how they run and operate their RPO game. My concern is with the safeties, because this is not just the RPO where they want to run a couple of slants here and there. This kind of RPO where they want to try to catch you in the seams and get up the field, you know, right? It's not just about it's not just about possession. You know, this is about, hey, catch a guy jumping out of his assignment and getting the gap. But those reads are less on their linebackers in their game and more on those safeties and trying to hit you up the seam, because they got the kind of guys that, you know, if he got a little bit of space and he catch that ball, you know, 7 to 9 yards down the field, then it's, can you outrun me to the end zone? So, you know, it's not just the run game that worries me, and it's not the defensive line that I worry about in this game. We need to make sure that we are disciplined and that, you know, we don't lose our eye discipline on the back end of the defense. So those safeties have got to really kind of they got to stay engaged and stay focused in this game. You know, not try to do too much, not try to let everybody, you know, trust what's in front of them. You know,
can't look in the backfield, and we've gotten caught doing that so much. And you know, like you said, the route combination will kill you if you know you're not tracking. Yeah.
No, and again, they're not just trying to dump it off, and he will, you know, they'll ride that thing deep and let them. They are trying to read the safeties oftentimes, not just you know. So
definitely. We got time for one more call. 386-287-1226. 386-287-1226. Jerry, you mentioned earlier when we came in, man, you got a lot of water in your office?
Oh my God, man. I got a long weekend. I am.
Oh man.
I am not traveling to Huntsville. I'm disappointed. I thought I was going to be able to, but we got a weekend worth of cleanup to do to hopefully be good to go early next week. You know, it's just part of it. You know, it's here in Orlando. By the time that hurricane came over us, it was a Category 2. And, you know, with the hurricane, the rain doesn't come down. It comes down sideways, feels like it's coming up. I mean, it's, if you got a seam, that rain and wind's going to find it.
Coming
and so it found some seams and creeped down some places, but you know, part of it. We live in the sunshine state, and you know, a little bit of rain, but the sunshine's coming back out tomorrow. We're gonna be all right.
Coming out tomorrow, definitely so. Definitely so. Jerry, give us some closing words, man.
I think we have an opportunity to come out of this weekend feeling really good about ourselves. We really do. Now, we're 0-5, so we can lose this game, no doubt about it. But we have an opportunity to exit out of this weekend feeling really good about ourselves. We can win this football game against Alabama A&M. We can get some feel-good behind us. Get some feel-good behind us, and then we'll let next week take care of itself. And so all is not lost. There's still plenty to play for. I want to see our guys go out. This sounds crazy, but I want to see us play a good football game. And
definitely,
do we want to win? Of course we want to win. I think this is almost one of those times. It's almost more important that we go out and play well and prove something to ourselves, that we can play well. And so that's what I want to see more than anything, that these guys, that whatever that it is that clicks, that it clicks this weekend, and that we see our guys play a good football game, play with some effort, play with some heart, play with some enthusiasm. And I think if we do that, when the clock strikes 0, we will be right there. And I would not be surprised if there are more numbers next to the BCU than there are to the AAMU. So.
AAMU, yeah. I would definitely like, 2 Florida teams to upset the 2 Alabama teams homecoming.
Might as well.
Yeah. Don't let them have all the fun up there. Let's have some fun down here. It would be great for the community to bring a great W back home. And we can do it. Like you said, I echo those sentiments that we can do it. We can do it. And, hopefully this different setting has helped, and is the trick that we need to reset, and let's go.
And like I told you off the air, I think the hardest thing is winning the first one.
Yes.
If we can figure out how to win the first one, then I think a lot of those beliefs that we had coming into the season, I think they all rush back in. Like, all right, we're okay. Because again, we keep saying, we've said this about 1,000 times. We're not that far away, but we're also really far away. You're far away until you do it, right? But when you see it, it's like play here, play there,
right?
Different ball game, different outcomes. So, at some point it'll click, and once it does, then 1 might become 2 and 2 might become 5, and so we got to get the first one first.
Gotta get it. Well, fans, thank you for tuning in to the Hail Wildcats Gridiron Show. We pray that everyone who is in the path of Hurricane Milton is recovering. And if you need any help, make sure to reach out to us. We're here for you. We want to see everyone tuning in. If you can, go to a bar, go somewhere. Let's cheer on our Wildcats. We will be taking quite a few people up to Alabama on this weekend for the Bethune-Cookman versus Alabama A&M game. Join us, if you will, www.letsgowildcats.org. If you would like to travel with us, keep on supporting the school, keep on supporting our teams, our athletic teams, and let's do what we can to show our Wildcat spirit. For Mr. Jerry Bell, Mr. Ralph Smith, Mr. Larry Wesley, and CC Cruse in their absence, I'm Darold Williams, Hail Wildcats, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Let's go Wildcat. Let's get us. Good night. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bethune-Cookman University alma mater.